Welcome to Sleep with Myth. Close your eyes and let the world fade away. Tonight we drift beyond time, where gods dream and stories remember their light. The mountain that never moved. Valor was a silent mountain, older than storms but younger than the sky's first breath. Deep within it rested a heart, not of flesh, but of warmth and ancient life, trapped for ages in unmoving stone. The girl who spoke to earth. In the village of Treefall lived Mira, who could hear the emotions of the ground. She felt Valor's distant dreaming but told no one. The stranger who arrived in the night. A mysterious traveler came seeking the mountain. He revealed that Valor's heart flickered for the first time in ages, and Mira had heard it. As the earth trembled, he warned that if the mountain woke alone, it could break itself apart. The mountain's first feeling. Mira sensed Valor's awakening emotions, loneliness, fear, curiosity. A mountain learning to feel was overwhelmed, trembling at its own awakening. The path that opened for her. Mira approached the mountain, touched its stone, and felt its heart pulse in recognition. The mountain sought connection, responding to her voice. The warning in the deep earth. The stranger warned that a mountain feeling too much could crack and destroy the valley. The choice the earth asked of her. Valor reached out to Mira, asking her to guide its awakening. Despite her grandmother's fear, Mira accepted. The mountain needed someone to show it how to feel. The whisper that ran through roots. The morning after Mira agreed to guide Valor's awakening, the village of Treefall woke to a strange sound. Not thunder, not wind, a low humming, like a deep note held beneath the earth. Cups rattled on wooden tables. Dust drifted from rafters. Trees shivered as if their roots had been tickled. Mira felt it before she heard it. It began in the soles of her feet, an almost imperceptible vibration that rose through her bones, into her chest, until her heart beat in the same slow rhythm. Valor was trying to breathe. She hurried outside. The mountain loomed at the valley's edge, its familiar silhouette unchanged, but the air around it looked different. Light bent faintly near its base, as if the stone itself was exhaling heat and pulling in cold. Her grandmother hobbled out behind her, wrapped tightly in a shawl. "Do you feel that?" Mira asked. Her grandmother's eyes narrowed. "I feel trouble," she muttered. A mountain's place is to stand, not to breathe. The stranger's warning. The traveler was already waiting at the path that led toward Valor. He leaned on his staff, cloak hooded despite the clear sky. The staff was topped with a shard of dark crystal shaped like a jagged fong. Even from a distance, Mira felt the stone humming in sympathy with the mountain. "You felt it," he said when she reached him. Mira nodded. "It feels like the ground is trying to sigh." "That is exactly what is happening," the stranger replied. "Valor has held more than rock inside for longer than your village has existed. Now, for the first time, it is letting itself feel. Feeling searches for breath." He glanced toward the cluster of homes behind her. "And breath searches for voice." Mira swallowed. "What happens if it finds one?" The traveler's eyes, a dull molten amber, softened. "That depends on who teaches it to speak." The path beneath the skin of the world. Together they walked toward Valor. As Mira approached the mountain, the humming grew stronger. Grass along the slope quivered. Small stones rolled down in lazy, uncertain slides, as if unwilling to let go of their resting places. At the base of a sheer cliff, where the mountain rose like a wall of gray-blue iron, a narrow crack had opened, no wider than Myra's shoulders, just tall enough for a person to slip through. It had not been there the week before. "The mountain has made a door," the stranger said. "For me," Mira whispered. "For anyone who can hear," he answered. "But right now that means you." Mira stepped closer. Cool air seeped from the crack, cool, but not dead. It was like standing at the opening of a cave where something warm slept deeper inside. Her heart drummed in her throat. "What about you?" she asked the stranger. "Will you come with me?" He hesitated. "My place is between stone and story," he said. "I walk where the old ones stir. But this," he touched the rock face lightly, "this is not my awakening. It's yours. And Vaylor's." He looked at her seriously. "Once you step inside, you will hear the mountain more clearly than anyone ever has. Its feelings will burn through you. If you are not careful, you won't know which heart you are listening to, yours or its." "How do I stay myself?" she asked. "Remember that you are small," he replied gently, "and that smallness is not weakness. Mountains learn from rivers precisely because rivers remember how to move." He stepped back. "I will guard the door. If Vaylor shakes too hard, I will do what I can to hold the valley together." His words did not promise success. Mira pressed her hand to the stone. "Then I'll make sure it doesn't break," she said. Inside the mountain's first thought, she slipped through the crack. The world narrowed to cool stone and her own echoing breath. For a moment, darkness pressed on all sides. Then the mountain's heart stirred. Light, soft as foxfire, shimmered along the walls, threads of faint green and gold weaving through the rock. They pulsed slowly, in rhythm with the deep hum she felt in her bones. Vaylor's voice reached her, not as words, but as a feeling wrapped in pressure. Who? It wasn't suspicion. It wasn't welcome. It was curiosity, raw and startling. "Mira," she whispered, "from Treefall. I heard you." A pause. Then a vibration like a slow nod. "Heard me?" "Yes," she said. "You're loud today." Walls trembled with a hint of embarrassment. "Too loud?" "Just loud enough to scare our dishes," she answered with a small smile. "And my grandmother." A sensation like a stone sinking through water followed. "Sorry." Myra's chest tightened. "A mountain apologizing," she murmured. "That might be a first." Another pulse. Warmer this time. "You came." "I said I would." "Because?" Mira hesitated, feeling the question run through her like a deep current. "Because you're waking up alone," she said. "And no one should have to feel for the first time without someone beside them. The weight of new emotions." The passage widened into a cavern. Its ceiling arched high above, glittering with faint, embedded crystals. Some glowed dull red, others cool blue, others not at all. The floor was uneven, ridged like the underside of a great stone tongue. At the cavern's center, fissures spread outward in jagged patterns. From those cracks, The faint glow pulsed more strongly. Mira knelt, placing her hand over one of the glowing fissures. Immediately, she was flooded with sensation. Loneliness, deep and cold as winter rock. Curiosity, sharp as a new chisel. Fear, like stones sliding uncontrollably down a slope. A strange, aching longing for what the mountain did not yet know. She staggered and dropped to both knees, palm still pressed to the crack. It's too much, she gasped. The hum faltered. Too much feeling? Yes, she whispered. All at once. The mountain tried to pull back, but its effort was clumsy. More impressions spilled into her, fragments of ages, snow piling on Valor's shoulders, roots digging into its flanks, rivers carving patient paths at its feet, tiny fires flickering in small wooden homes far below, laughter, sobbing, the weight of villages leaning against its presence, never once asking if it felt the years as they passed. All of it pressing into her at once. She tore her hand away, panting. The hum dimmed to a frightened quiver. Hurt you? She swallowed hard, wiped sweat from her brow, and forced herself to breathe in time with the fading vibrations. Not on purpose, she managed. You're just a very large. A small silence, almost sulky. Can't be smaller. She laughed weakly. No, she agreed. But you can learn to speak softly. The lesson of small feelings. Mira sat cross-legged on the cavern floor, letting her heartbeat slow. Listen, she said at last. You're feeling everything at once because you've never had to sort your emotions before. We do that all the time. Walls hummed, skeptical. Sort feelings? Yes. Otherwise we'd shatter just like you might. When I'm happy and frightened and lonely and hungry all together, I breathe. I ask myself, which feeling is loudest? Which feeling is true right now? Silence deep and considering. How? Try this, she said. Think of only one thing, just one. What you feel toward the village at your feet. The hum shifted. Heat rolled through the cavern. Not burning, but snug, like lying too near a sun-warmed stone. Warmth. Pride. You like us? Mira translated, the corners of her lips lifting. Yes. Good, she said. Hold on to that. Let everything else grow quiet for a moment. The fear receded. The loneliness dulled. The trembling lessened. For the first time since she entered, the air in the cavern felt still enough to rest in. Better, Valor murmured. Better, Mira agreed. Her own heart felt oddly full. See, she added, you can choose which feelings to listen to. Walls vibrated with cautious satisfaction. You choose? Sometimes, she said. Not always. Some days feelings choose me. But I can always try to hold just one at the center and let the others pass through. Pass through. Like birds flying across your peak, she suggested. They land, they leave, but you are still here. The mountain considered this carefully. Birds. The vibration warmed with the faint spark of amusement. Tickle. The tremor of joy. As Valor practiced focusing on one feeling at a time, Mira felt the air pulse with a new sensation. Joy. It was clumsy at first, too strong, like an avalanche of delight, but it gradually softened into something gentler. Rock creaked. Tiny pebbles danced in quiet, jittery patterns around her feet. Lines of light brightened along the cavern walls. "Careful," she said quickly. "If you're too happy, we'll have to rebuild half the village." The hum stuttered in alarm. "Sorry." She laughed. "It's all right. Just maybe feel joy the way we feel a song. It's still loud, but it moves through air, not stone." Song. The hum shifted rhythm. Mira realized the mountain was trying to hum in a more musical way. Long notes, short ones, barely audible vibrations. Slowly, the cavern filled with a deep, resonant tone unlike any she had heard before. It wasn't quite a melody, but it was close. She felt her eyes sting. "It's beautiful," she whispered. The light in the fissures flared briefly, like a blush traveling through stone. "You like my feeling?" "Yes." Warmth rippled under her palms. Not hot, not dangerous. Comfort, protect, friend. The last word made her throat close. "Friend," she echoed softly. "Yes." The first danger of a feeling mountain. Outside, the traveler pressed his palm to Vaylor's outer face. The tremors had eased, but new ones flickered now and then. Sharp, quick, like laughter not fully under control. He frowned. "A mountain that learns joy will eventually learn anger," he murmured to himself. "We must be ready." Behind him, two villagers approached cautiously, the blacksmith and Myra's grandmother. "Well?" her grandmother demanded. "Is that girl alive?" "For the moment," the traveler replied. "What is that supposed to mean?" she snapped. He studied the peak, its outline steady against the sky. "It means your granddaughter is teaching Vaylor how to feel without breaking. But if she fails..." He did not finish. "We've lived under that mountain for generations," the blacksmith said. "If it decides it's unhappy, what chance do we have?" The traveler tapped his staff lightly against the ground. "Your chance lies in how you choose to feel about it in return," he said. They stared at him. He sighed. "If you fear it, it may learn to fear itself. Fearing yourself is the quickest road to cruelty. If you hate it, it may learn to despise its own heart. And despising yourself leads to collapse." He glanced toward the village. "If, instead, you treat it as kin who is learning to walk, it might become the gentlest giant your world has ever known." The promise made in the dark. Inside the mountain, Mira lay on the cavern floor, listening to Vaylor's new hum. It washed through her like a slow tide. "Thank you," the mountain whispered. "For what?" "For listening." "For you," she corrected softly. "I'm not doing this for stones. I'm doing it for you." Another slow pause. "Friend." She smiled in the dim light. "Yes," she repeated. "Friend." She let silence stretch, comfortable now. "Vaylor," she said at last. "Yes." "If your feelings ever get too big again and you think you might break, call me before you move." "How?" "Hum my name," she answered. "The way you hummed before, but with this feeling." She placed her hand back on the fissure and let the steady warmth of trust rise within her. The mountain inhaled that feeling like a scent. "Miai, Rhea." Her name trembled through the rock, too loud, then softer as he adjusted. She laughed. Close enough. She pressed her forehead gently to the floor, feeling the stone cool against her skin. I promise, she whispered. I'll come whenever you call. We'll learn your feelings together. You don't have to be alone with them anymore. A deep, contented vibration rumbled through the cavern. Not alone. No, she said. Not anymore. The shadow waiting in the deep. As she rose to leave, she felt something else. Faint, far below. Not Valor. Not herself. A different pulse buried deeper in the earth, like another heart sleeping beneath the mountain's own. Throbbed once, then went still. Mira froze. Valor, she whispered. What is that? The mountain hesitated, its hum turning troubled. Old, it murmured finally. Before me. Before you? She repeated, startled. Under what? Under everything. A chill slipped down her spine. Can you feel it waking? Silence. Then, reluctantly, feeling you. Her own heartbeat skipped. The stranger's warning echoed in her mind. If the mountain wakes alone, it may break itself apart. But if something older wakes beneath it, she swallowed. We'll deal with that later, she said, forcing calm into her voice. First, let's make sure you don't break. She stepped back toward the crack that led outside. Rest for now, she told Valor. Just breathe gently. The hum softened, settling into a slow, steady rhythm. Breathing. Yes, she said. Breathing. She slipped out into the light of late afternoon. Behind her, Valor stood solid and quiet. To anyone else, it looked no different than it had her whole life. But Mira knew better. The mountain was awake, and somewhere deep beneath its new heart, something even older had just turned in its sleep. The night that would not sleep. Valor's awakening hum moved beneath the village. Mira felt it resonate through her bones. Her grandmother feared it. The stranger understood it. Valor was breathing calmer, steadier, but not alone. Something deeper was stirring beneath. The mountain speaks a new word. Valor called Mira at dawn, humming her name. She entered the mountain again, now brighter, glowing with new life. Valor was proud, learning to feel, learning to calm itself. But a second pulse trembled beneath the stone, darker and older. The cavern of new voices. Valor felt Myra's presence and responded warmly. But the deeper pulse rippled through the cavern, startling both Mira and the mountain. It was ancient, older than Valor, older than the valley itself. The memory not made of stone. The stranger revealed that before mountains formed, there were ancient earth spirits. Some became mountains, some rivers, some forests, and some remained unshaped, sleeping beneath the world. Myra's connection with Valor was stirring one of them. The mountain's first fear. Valor trembled in fear. The deep being beneath it had no feelings, no form, only hunger for awareness. Mira realized Valor had nearly broken by waking alone, and this deeper heart could break the whole valley if it woke without guidance. The hearts that must awaken together. Mira reached out to both hearts. She offered warmth to the deep pulse, letting it feel its first gentle emotion. Valor calmed. Both beings sensed her. Two hearts, one of stone, one beneath the world, began awakening through her. the promise that shook the earth. Light surged through the cavern, Valor's golden glow intertwining with the deep being's dark blue pulse. Mira promised to teach them both how to feel. The earth trembled, not in danger, but in acknowledgement of the promise she had made. The day the sky watched in fear. The morning after Mira felt both hearts, the warm one of Valor and the ancient cold pulse beneath. The sky grew pale, as if the heavens themselves feared the awakening below. Animals refused to leave shelter, villagers whispered, and the trembling beneath the earth grew sharper. Valor was afraid, more afraid than any mountain had ever been. The stranger's grim truth. The traveler revealed a chilling truth. Fear was the most dangerous feeling for a mountain. Joy shook stones, curiosity hummed softly, but fear cracked the earth. And the deeper heart, awakened by Myra's touch, was learning through Valor's fear. The mountain that could not hold its heart. Inside the cavern, light flickered violently. Valor called Myra's name over and over, frantic and trembling. The mountain's emotions, its own and the ancient ones, collided within it, overwhelming its ability to breathe, to hold itself together. The moment a mountain feels too much, the deep pulse surged upward. Valor shielded Mira, but the weight was too great. Mira demanded Valor share the burden with her. For a moment, she felt everything: fear, longing, the cold emptiness of the ancient being, and nearly collapsed. Valor cut the connection to protect her. The stranger's warning comes true. Outside, the sky trembled with a crack of shadow, proof the deep heart was awake and searching. It did not understand emotion. It only understood hunger for sensation. And now it knew Mira existed. The fear a mountain cannot hold alone. The valley shook. Rivers reversed. Roots burrowed deeper. The deep heart was rising, not as a creature but as a force. Valor begged Mira to stay safe, but she refused. She would not let the mountain break alone. The choice that shook the valley. Mira returned to the cavern. The deep pulse surged, curious and powerful. She knelt, placed her hands on the stone, and answered its first question, "What am I?" By opening her heart, she let both beings, warm Valor and the cold deep heart, feel her emotions. The cavern erupted in gold and blue light as they learned their first shared feeling. Hope. The morning that shook without wind. Treefall awoke to a trembling world. The deep heart was rising, pulling at the soil, bending trees away from Valor. The mountain's panic echoed through Myra's bones as it called for her desperately. The stranger reads the earth. The traveler warned Mira that Valor was losing its grip, not on itself, but on the ancient being beneath. Both hearts had felt her warmth. Both wanted her. And the deep heart, awakening for the first time, hungered for sensation. Into the heart again. Inside, the cavern throbbed with wild pulses. Valor trembled violently, overwhelmed by two hearts beating within one body. Mira touched the fissures, trying to steady the mountain, discovering she had grown stronger, changed by the deep heart's touch. The deep heart rises. The ancient presence surged upward, eager to feel again. Valor reacted with fear and possessiveness, shaking the cavern as both hearts reached for Mira. She begged them to stop before they tore her and themselves apart. The mountain's first anger. The deep heart reached too quickly, startling Valor into its first true rage. A shockwave split the cavern floor, exposing a glowing blue chasm. The deep heart's wounded pulse echoed upward, confused and hurt. Mira realized it wasn't attacking. It simply didn't understand. The bridge of three hearts. Mira stood between the gold glow of Valor and the blue light of the deep heart. She joined both hands to the fissures and guided them toward each other. Gold and blue light met in her chest as she formed the first bridge between stone and shadow. The crack that nearly ended everything. But the strain was too great. The cavern fractured, the mountain nearly breaking apart. Mira held on long enough for both hearts to touch without pain for the first time. Then she collapsed, whispering for them not to let each other fall. Valor's terrified cry echoed through the cavern as she lost consciousness. Maria! The silence after the shout. Mira drifted in darkness, feeling two distant pulses. Valor's warm heartbeat and the deep heart's cold rhythm. Both called her back. She awakened on the cavern floor, changed but alive, with both ancient pulses echoing inside her. Valor's desperate confession. Valor trembled in fear of losing her, apologizing for overwhelming her. The deep heart, uncertain and newly awakened, also yearned for her warmth. Mira urged them to stop clinging to her and to begin feeling with each other instead of through her alone. The mountain opens its chest. The cavern expanded as Valor and the deep heart created a new chamber. Golden light descended. Blue light rose. For the first time, the two beings attempted to meet willingly. Mira stood witness as they approached one another with curiosity instead of fear. The meeting of two ancient beings. Gold and blue spiraled gently. Valor whispered reassurance. The deep heart whispered uncertainty. Mira taught them the essence of feeling: warmth, pain, care, hope, and encouraged them to share these emotions together. Light roared as the two forces intertwined. The birth of the third heart. When the glow faded, a new being stood at the center of the chamber. Neither mountain nor shadow alone. A merged heart with two pulses beating in one unified rhythm. It spoke with a single voice, thanking Mira for guiding them to balance. The choice of the new heart. The new heart promised to protect the valley and remain grounded. Mira assured it that she would always be near, though it no longer needed her to hold itself together. Valor and the deep heart embraced her one final time in golden blue light. The valley that finally breathed again. The new being sealed the cracks, soothed the trembling earth, and restored calm to the valley. The sky brightened. The mountains stood steadier and stronger than ever. Mira stepped outside as the world exhaled in relief. She vowed to listen always, and to answer if the hearts ever called again. The end. Thank you for listening to Sleep with Myth. May your dreams rest gently beneath ancient mountains, where even stone learns to feel.